Welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. I'm actually doing one on a Friday night, which is kind of a shock. You know what? I'm sitting on a blanket and it's not comfortable. Okay, so I'm happy because it's a 3-day weekend and basically 2 more weeks until our spring break. So I've got this. I've got a bunch of stuff to talk about tonight. I'm just going to go in order of the list that I made. The first are a couple of shows that I've been watching. So I watched the most recent episodes of Daredevil, and while there were a couple of filler episodes, they were highly enjoyable. I'm really enjoying the new season of Daredevil. I finished The Penguin on HBO Max, so Daredevil is on Disney and Penguin is on Max. And it had a very dark ending. I totally enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good series. I love both leads. The ending was dark, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it reminded me of something from the Ender books, but not the Ender books, but the Bean books. And if you've read those, then, I mean, this isn't really a spoiler because there's a lot that happened in those books. But once you watch the ending, and if you've ever read those books, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't know. The ending might be too dark for some people. Anyways, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it. It would be interesting to hear the reactions without spoilers of people who watched the series the whole way through. And what do you think about the ending of it? I thought initially I was kind of turned off by it, but it made more and more sense, especially with something else that happened at the end of the episode. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking about Penguin now and move on. I also I caught up with the two news programs that I watch, which is on Max, which is what is it, Chris Rock? What am I talking about? Real Time with Bill Maher and John Oliver. And so I clicked the similar programs, and there's a documentary series by Fareed Zakaria, and he's been on Bill Maher's show quite a few times, so I decided to check it out. And some of I started with the first one, and I watched 3 already, and they're actually really good. And I mean, they go back to, I think, like 2019, the first ones. But I'm really enjoying them. They tackle some really tough topics, and I mean, he covers what he can in about 40, or I think the shows are about 45 minutes. So you don't go really, really in depth, but you kind of get an overview of whatever topics. Like the most recent one was about the rise of white supremacy. There was another one about dealing with problematic issues with Saudi Arabia, and I forget what the first one was. But they've all been really good. I'm enjoying that, and I recommend it. Next, I'm going to talk about some video games that I got. So I'm very late to the Switch. My daughter has a Switch, and I've been buying games for her over the years, but I just recently got a Switch. And now she doesn't live with us anymore. She's moved out. So I have a total of 4 games so far. And I actually haven't even played one. My daughter got me this game, which I'm looking forward to playing. I got stuck on this one at one point, but man, I like this game. I started playing, Tomb Raider was one of my favorite games from PlayStation 1, and I played almost all of them. I love this game. But when I started playing with this one, it immediately brought back the nostalgia, but the controls are really difficult for me. I'm used to the Switch now, so I think when I get back to this, that the controls should be easier. But this is the game that I really want to talk about. And that is Pixel Junk's Eden. Now, this is a game that I downloaded from the PlayStation Store for my PlayStation 3. It was only downloadable. And it was Pixel Junk Eden. And this is one of the best games I've ever played, in my opinion. And I haven't played that many. It's so weird, but like so mesmerizing. The music is great. The visuals are amazing. So it's really a little bit difficult to explain. You're this little creature that shoots a thread, and you spin around within that thread, and if you can hook on or hit seeds, they pop and they go populate these spores that make plants. Once you fill it up and jump on it, the plant will sprout. So then you can go to that plant and you can get to more. And you're in a garden, and you can't see the whole garden on the screen, but you have to find where a spectra is, and it's your goal to get that spectra, and it's timed. I don't know if that sounds fun to you or not, but man, this game is mesmerizing. And I was so happy that there was a Switch version. Now, it was a little bit expensive. I paid $30 for this game. And it's from the limited run game series. These things sell out and then they go like way up in price. So if you're a Switch player and you're interested in what I've said, you should pick up this game now. My throat is like going already. I can hear it. Oh, and I don't have any cough drops around. I might have to get up and do something about it because, yeah, my throat. Okay. And then I was on this nostalgia kick for the games that I downloaded on the PlayStation 3. And another one of my favorite games was this game called The Last Guy. Now, in this game, it's so weird to explain, but you're literally like a square on a map, and you're going throughout the whole city trying to find survivors, and they latch onto you in a gigantic line. But there's these monsters that come up, and if they touch your line, the people break off and run back. And it's timed. This game was so challenging, and I only had it downloaded. And this was only released in Japan. In fact, if you look at it, it's all Japanese. But I've looked at this before, and it was more expensive. But I recently looked again, and I was able to find this for $25, including shipping. And I pulled the plug, and I'm like, I want this. I have a PlayStation 4 that still plays PlayStation 3 games, and I am just so happy to have this in my collection. One of my favorite games from the PlayStation 3. So now I have two games. Another game that I really, really love is from Pixel Junk also, called Pixel Junk Monsters 1 and 2. And I believe I have that on... I have that on another game system, but I'm forgetting which one right now. I think I have it in the PlayStation, the portable PSP. I'm looking up there right now. I think I do. I can't see it. Anyways, you don't need to see my my profile that whole time. So, video game update. I don't have many of those, but man, I'm so happy I've had these games. I have these games, and I've been playing this so much. I've been going to bed late, and it's been making me tired the whole week at school, which is not a good thing. All right, comic books. I got my recent shipment of comic books in, and I'm going to also talk about the graphic novels. I got this set of comic books in, and they're all facsimiles. I love these things. So here we have Detective Comics number 31. Now I'm going to have to say, when I opened this up, it seemed muddier than some of the other ones. I really don't care. The paper seems a little bit darker, and I know, so for example, if you look at that, it does look a little muddy to me. I'm going to show you. So, for example, this one, like the colors just seem to have bled a bit. I really don't care. I'm happy to have these. And I know that when these are in the the graphic novels, the colors, everything pop, but they don't. I don't think they always have all the backup stories. In any event, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm so happy to have this issue of Detective Comics. A Brave and the Bold, number 30 with the Justice League of America. Look at this. That's hilarious. I really can't wait to read this. This is going to be so much fun. Bad Girl Adventures. I think this one's really famous because it's the first appearance of Harley Quinn or something like that. It's nice to have this because this book goes for a couple hundred, I think. Yes, X-Men, anything from this era. This is an amazing, I mean, I love this cover. Wolverine never looked better than right here. Look at this. This is awesome. Wolverine on his own. And this is X-Men number 133. Just so cool. All the ads are in this. I wanted to show, look at this ad. It's hilarious. Another one that is Swamp Thing number 37. And I believe this is the first appearance of John Constantine. I'm not sure. Hey, if there's a facsimile, I just go ahead and buy it. But what was cool is that they also advertised this, which is a Mondo variant. So I was like, that's really, really interesting. And I snatched it up. Now, Mondo is a company that puts out not only vinyl, but also a lot of prints. And I guess they have this variant print for sale. But man, it's nice. I mean, it's just really cool to have something like that. Daredevil number 1. Keep these, Marvel, please keep these original issues coming. Look at this. Amazing. This one we really didn't need because it's a more modern issue, but hey, George Perez, I think now I have the entire series in reprints, and this is Crisis on Infinite Earths, number 12. The last one that is a facsimile is Fantastic Four, number 3. So far, they've reprinted numbers 1, 2, and 3 in a row. Man, I hope they keep going. How amazing would it be to have the entire Fantastic Four Jack Kirby run in facsimiles? I mean, look at this stuff. It's amazing. Or I guess I should say fantastic. And then this is a comic I bought for my husband, DuckTales. All right, those were the comics, the facsimiles. And normally I don't talk a lot about my graphic novels that I got, but this time I got a bunch of Epic Collections and the DC, what are they called? The Finest. So I'm going to start, I'm like moving everything around, sorry. I'm going to start by talking about Fantastic Four Epic Collection number 11. Why am I showing this off? Because right now, in Epic Collection, we have issues 1 through 214. And that takes us all the way from the beginning of the Fantastic Four to the beginning of 1980. I mean, that's pretty epic to have the entire first 200 issues of the Fantastic Four. Honestly, you don't really need much else than that, although I still have been buying the other ones. And the reason I'm showing this one is for the same reason. For The Amazing Spider-Man, this is also volume 11, which goes to 1980, and we now have issues 1 through 206 in Epic Collection. So if you're not aware, in the Epic Collection, they don't print them in order. They jump around, and these have been ongoing for a couple of years now, so that they're starting to fill in all of the runs. And for Spider-Man, they put out 1 through 11 15, 17 through 28. And so we're really only missing 4 volumes in the middle to have an entire Spider-Man run almost up until the modern times. So that's, again, I'm going to make it a pun. That's pretty amazing. Now, with that, we're also getting modern epics. And I got 2. And as you notice, you can see the modern epics are much thinner than the traditional epics, which with almost the same cover price, but not quite. So this time we got Astonishing X-Men Volume 2 and Miles Morales Spider-Man Volume 1. So pretty important stuff, actually. And I look forward to really reading those. And the final 3 that I want to talk about are these really, really awesome DC Finest. Although there are some disadvantages to these, I'm going to talk about them. But right now, they're on sale, and you get these hefty volumes. And this one is $40. Although when you buy them online, you get them a lot cheaper. And these are $50. So at the time, like when these Epic collections first came out, they were much cheaper. These things are cheaper right now until they get the line established, I guess. Then they'll raise their prices. But wow, do you get a lot for your dollar. However, one thing that is problematic with these is that they are not printing the entire comics. So this one is, excuse me, this one is centered around Plastic Man. And does this thing look amazing? The art in this looks stunning and so much fun. I'm flipping through it to show you some. I mean, it's almost reminding me of the Spirit in the way that he'll have that opening splash page and do something interesting with it. And this is Jack Cole. But look at the covers, too. Pretty cool. But a lot of these are coming from Police Comics, and they are only printing the Plastic Man stories. They're not printing the entire comic, which, you know, I'm just glad to get these, even if I'm not getting the entire issue. But it would be nice if they would just print all of the Police Comics and all the backup stories. I think those are a lot of fun. I got this modern Suicide Squad. It starts off with this miniseries Legends, which I had and I haven't read. I need to read that one. But this one is also a lot of fun. The finest team ups, and this includes not only DC Comics Presents, but also The Brave and the Bold. So if you don't know, DC Comics Presents was always Superman with somebody, and Brave and the Bold was always Batman with somebody. So yeah, a lot of fun. These DC Finest books are pretty cool. Oh, man. So I'm going to be shaking you around again because look at all these books I got in. That's too much. I've actually started limiting which epics I buy. They're actually pumping them out right now, and I've stopped getting every one of them. I even haven't gotten all of the DC Finest. There's a couple that I haven't picked up, and I'm kind of thinking I need to get them anyway. But that's just the completionist in me. All right. I stopped at the book drop on the way to school. I saw that it was filled up. So I stopped just to see what they have. And I hit the jackpot. Well, you can see if I did or not. I found a book by C.S. Lewis, and I've actually been listening to a lot of his books recently. And this is called The Great Divorce. And it's about a bus ride from hell up to heaven. Sounds so religious, but I've really been enjoying C.S. Lewis's writing, and I'm actually really looking forward to this. Next, I found 2 books that I've already read. This one I could have left because the cover's a little bit faded, and I don't even really like the cover. But this is Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor E. Frankl, An Introduction to Logotherapy. And so, yeah, my nails are really long. I got to cut them. But this one I was really happy to find. So this is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. I don't have this version, and that's just such great cover art for an iconic book. Now, the next one I found, I couldn't believe it. My jaw was kind of dropping, and I almost left it there. But I said to myself, no, you've got to get this book. Have I built up the suspense? It's called Somewhere My Love by Karen Fox. And I was like, okay, don't make fun of romance books, all right? They could be good. But I love the cover art. I mean, to be honest, that is really good cover art. It's just the subject matter is so cheesy. And I thought to myself, you're gonna grab this book. You're gonna grab it. You're gonna look at it. So even though my throat is on fire right now, I am gonna read you the back. And I read it before. This is like pretty funny. As an officer of the Alliance, Shannara had been trained to destroy the psychics who sought galactic domination. What about this book says that it's sci-fi? Like, what? Somewhere, My Love? How is this a sci-fi book? A sci-fi romance? I was like laughing so hard. This is sci-fi. But on a mission to protect the Director General's daughter, the beautiful bodyguard was abducted by one, Tristan, the most dazzlingly sensual man she'd ever encountered. Far from the monsters she'd been prepared for, her enemy was a man whose dreams and desires she admired. And in the duel they waged, she felt him parry every thrust and found herself pierced to the soul by the riposte of his kiss. Soon the fiery beauty knew that as surely as her body was Tristan's hostage, so was her heart, and she questioned all she'd ever known. For if the Alliance was right and Tristan's people were evil, there would never be a time or a place for their passion. But in his ardent embrace, Shannara found herself hoping, praying, telling herself that they could be together somehow, somewhere, my love. I just got a little wet. This book is hilarious. Okay, so I read the first paragraph and I about peed myself. It's a little smutty, but I think that's the point. So I'm going to read it to you. Prologue. He came to her in her dreams, as he always did when she'd had a particularly stressful day. Teasing her lips with feather-like kisses, he ran his hands over her bare skin, her standard issue underwear surprisingly gone. Her breasts swelled, anticipating his touch, her nipples hardening into tight little nubs. I've got to read this. Oh my Lord, this is going to be fun. What a find in the book drop. I think someone out there was like laying a trap. They want to get people all hot and bothered with these books. Oh my gosh, what a treasure to find that in the free book drop. All right. I have two more things to talk to you about tonight, and those are movies and books. Okay, movies. I watched 3 this week. One of them I was really, really, really excited about, and I know most people might not be. Whatever. I'm a big musical fan, and I actually saw the stage play of Wicked, and this week it was on Paramount. So I went ahead and watched it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really fun movie. I thought the acting was good. I think this woman is a phenomenal actress. Everything that she's been in, I've loved. I know she had a bunch of controversy. She played like a detective on the spectrum in a Stephen King movie or show, and man, she was good. And I've seen her in other things. Like, she's a really, really talented actress. And I I'm forgetting her name. But anyways, Ariana Grande, she was really, really good too. And I mean, I could nitpick about a few things, but overall, it was a really, really fun movie, and I enjoyed it. I'm gonna move on. There was a video recommending science fiction movies on Amazon Prime, overlooked science fiction movies on Amazon Prime, if I can get that out. And I watched two of them, and I'd seen a couple, and I have like 4 or 5 more on the list, so I'll probably be talking about those. But the first one that I watched was produced by the same people who did John Wick, and it's very similar, and it's called 24 Hours to Live, and that is Ethan Hawke. And I really respect Ethan Hawke as an actor. He's just got a great career. I followed him from when he was young. I was young when he was, I mean, he's a little bit older than I am, and I believe. And I followed his career kind of like alongside as I've been getting older. I really respect him as an actor. I think he does great in almost everything that he's given. This movie is fun. If you like John Wick type of movies, you're gonna really like this one. The John Wick movies are better. It's very predictable. There's some schlocky elements, but it's just action, action, action. So this guy, he's killed, and there's some weird science that wakes him up, but he only has 24 hours to live. And so he's got to go on a revenge fest, to get things done within the 24 hours. I mean, there's not going to be anything new in this type of movie. It's all about the action, all about, the violence. It's ultra violent. It's, it's all of that. The poetry of violence. I would say this is a solid movie. If you like that genre, you're going to enjoy it. I did. John Wick is better, though. And then the next one I watched was, I have to hold it back because it's blurry. This movie is called Ink. And once I started watching it, I'd realized that I'd seen it before. It's ultra, ultra low budget. But man, what they do with the budget is they create this surreal world that is really thought-provoking. The characters in it are creepy for the budget. This is a really well-done movie. And if you want to nitpick it because it's low budget, you absolutely can. But I think if you let yourself go along for the ride of this movie, you will, it's easy to figure out what's going on. But otherwise, this is a fun, intelligent movie with some pretty cool special effects for the low budget. It actually tells a really touching story. And in a sense, it does play with time a little bit in this movie. So I would recommend it if you like independent sci-fi and you don't mind low budget. You're going to enjoy this movie. It's the visuals are just interesting. It's like watching a low budget Terry Gilliam movie. And that was it for the movies. So now let's talk about the books I read. I think I talked about this one last time, so I won't spend a lot of time on this. So I did listen to a C.S. Lewis book called Till We Have Faces, which is a retelling of the myth of Cupid and Psyche. And I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It wasn't the best thing that I've read by him, but it's so compelling. And when you think about all of the recent trend in novels to like retell Greek myths and other types of myths, And then he did this book, a couple decades ago. This would be a good book to add to that genre of literature. Like I said, I enjoyed it, and C.S. Lewis seems to me, which I didn't realize, to be one of these kind of chameleonic writers who can write with different styles and keep audiences engaged. And that's why I am really looking forward to reading this one. And I actually just got today, although I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it this week. I got the third book in the sci-fi trilogy. I think it's called That Hideous Strength. Sorry about that. Okay, so enough about C.S. Lewis. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Our Evenings by Alan Hollinghurst. Now, I've been a big fan of Hollinghurst since his very early books. I think his first novel was nominated for the Booker Prize, but didn't win it, or it was on the short list. And then I think his either second or third book won it. And so I read all of his early books right around that time, and I became a big fan, not only for his writing, but what he wrote about. For me, was highly, highly interesting. He wrote about gay topics with a lot of detail, and not detail that you'd necessarily want to read. That some of the things were shocking, and but he's such a good writer that it's like reading smut, but written from someone who's highly literate. And like I said, he would go into a lot of details. Now, over time, I'm not saying that you shouldn't write about those topics, but his books have matured with him as he's matured. And I was looking forward to reading this, but as I read it, it did feel like some of the same ground that he's already covered. Now, after I finished this book, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but did not count it as his best, the online reviewers are saying that it's his best book ever. So that just goes to show you what I know about literature. Now, what the online reviewers, a couple of them have been saying, like, he's taken these ideas, but he perfected them in this book. I'm going to say that to me, it did feel a little bit of the same rehashing of ideas. He does have a main character that is biracial and gay, and growing up in a very small town in England, and dealing with all of these issues. It was a really, really interesting, and then being beholden to people who gave him a scholarship, like the ultra rich elite people in England, and he would go and stay with them, and dealing with all of this. And then the book is told in flashes of time throughout his entire life. And so it goes from when he's really, really young until I don't want to give it away in case you want to read it. So I'm going to say that if you're a Hollinghurst fan, this is a really good book, and you're going to want to read it just because you like his writing anyway. If you've never read Hollinghurst, this would be a great place to jump on, especially since critics are saying it's his best book ever. And then if you like this book, you could certainly branch out into some of his others. Highly recommended from me. The next book, I think, was mentioned by Mr. E, the low-grade king. And he mentioned that The Punisher came from a Don Pendleton novel about called The Executioner. And number one is called War Against the Mafia. Now, this is definitely one of those... I don't know why I liked this book so much. It's so pulpy. And there's like over 100 of these books written. And I don't know if they go down in quality or not, but I really enjoyed this book, but it is pulpy. Like, there's lots of sex in the book, which I don't think is, the detail is necessary, but it's written for that crime, like sex audience. But I enjoyed this book a lot. It's definitely pulpy though, and I would recommend it. It was short and it was fun, and I can't wait to get the second one. Next, I read. There's two more books. The Library at Mount Char. Now, the reason I listened to this, I knew nothing about it. I didn't read anything about it, but I saw a couple of people recommend this book in the threads of people discussing the Annihilation books, especially the newest one that came out. They're like, oh, you have to try The Library at Mount Char. I'm going to say no. Annihilation blows this book out of the water. It's like night and day. There's no comparison. Is this a good book? Yes, but it's all plot, and it's very interesting, very weird, but it's like a story. Boom, boom, boom. What happens next? What happens? It's like you're reading it just because it's like a thrill ride. But it is very, very strange, and it sets up this weird world that once you're brought into it, like at the beginning it's confusing because it jumps around on purpose, but later the details start to get filled in, and you go on this wild ride. It was a fun book that took you into a weird fantasy world of gods and mortals and cruelty and just all these kind of things. There was a series of books I read. I can't remember the person who did it. You know what? I shouldn't even get into it because I can't remember the name. But it's a series of books where there are people who are slaves to gods, and one guy has his body transformed and changed so that he can become one of them and infiltrate them. That series was really, really good, and it kind of reminded me of this. Fun book. I wish it hadn't have been compared to Annihilation because I was like, nope. The writing in Annihilation was creepy. It left you with this eerie atmosphere that was pervasive. This didn't do that for me. But I'm not going to say it's a bad book. If you like fantasy that is weird out there, taking you into new places, and very plot-driven, you're just going boom, 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 like you would like this. And the final one that I read, this one today. It's a very short book, and it is The Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury. Recently, I've been listening to more Ray Bradbury. There's certainly a lot that I haven't read yet, but I'm going to continue. This was only 3 hours, so a very, very quick read. It's almost like a long short story or a novella. It's about a group of kids who go on a Halloween journey. One of their friends is sucked through time, and there was a creepy man who takes them on a journey through different periods of history to very quickly experience Halloween, the origins of Halloweens in different cultures. It's a pretty fun, interesting idea. The end does have this creepy note, and I should have expected it because I think Stephen King has mentioned this being indebted to the Halloween Tree. He's mentioned it in a bunch of his books. It did have a little bit of a weird, creepy ending that I enjoyed. I'm not going to say this was my favorite Bradbury. It was really good. He's a great writer who surprises you. And this book was a lot of fun. It had its creepy elements. The writing is very good. His other this isn't young adult, but he has other books like Dandelion Wine that deal with young children, and they were more poignantly written. But this is not bad by any means. I'm just saying that I enjoyed those other books better. This is good, and it's quick. And if you want to kind of be exposed to Bradbury, and you want to see what he's like, and you want to go on this kind of like little creepy, it's a dark Halloween tale. Although nothing horrible happens to the children, it is still pretty dark. And the ending has this like little twist that is a lot of fun, and I think ultimately it's creepy when you have to think about it. Uh, but yeah, not his best in my opinion, but I did really, really enjoy it. And that comes to the end of what I'm going to be talking about. Oh wow, 40 minutes. I'm glad my throat held out. Um, my longer videos, over 30 minutes, I sometimes have difficulty uploading them. I hope they're going to be able to upload. I hope it's going to be able to upload. I want to thank everybody. I hope I didn't get all of you hot and bothered by my reading of Somewhere My Love. If maybe this is available for download, if you know, for those lonely periods of time right before bed, there you go. Somewhere My Love. I mean, and is that really famous Fabian guy as the model? I mean, this cover is so awesome. But again, sci-fi. I'm not going to rehash all that. It's time for me to go play some Pixel Junk Eden. I want to thank all of you for being along with me on this ride, especially if you listen to me rambling for 41 minutes. Yeah, I just want to thank all of you for the support, your continued support, and hopefully I'll see you next Friday.